Friends of Prensa Esports. Today we met with Juv3nile, assistant coach of Leviatan, a team who defeated the EMEA runner-up team Heretics, thus qualifying for the upper final of the Valorant Champions Seoul, where they will face the Chinese champion Edward Gaming for a spot in the Valorant Champions final. Juve, thank you very much the time for this interview. To start, tell us about yourself and your career in esports. When I told many Leviathan fans that I was going to have an interview with you, many mentioned to me that they don't know you and that they remembered you too much because you looked like a lot like Rich.
Yeah. I have a long history as like a player from way back when. I've been playing professional since 2007, way back in Call of Duty 4. And then I played professional Overwatch and I played professional CS:GO back with like NAF Fly, Skadoodle, bunch of players that you would recognize as professional CS:GO players in North America. And then I've been coaching Valorant pretty much since release. One of the first teams I coached was like Brock, Bang, those guys. I ended up coaching a crew with Calm. And so I was coaching with crew with Calm in our long win streak. And then after crew, I went to TSM. I was a head coach at TSM actually with Iopata. Iopata was my assistant coach back then.
Oh,
So the tables have turned a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much my history. I had a little bit of time after TSM with Oxygen Esports with the Redux, Verno roster, and those guys. And then I also was coaching most recently Elevate slash Orglis in MYSG, the Malaysian Singapore League, in Tier 2 with some players. So it's been a long road, but I'm definitely excited to be with Leviatan. And I really love the Latin fans and Leviatan fans so much.
well, it's crazy that all the career you had is like very long, being from player to staff. Like you're being the head coach and Itopata the assistant coach. My
Yeah, it's a
next
small world.
Yeah, it's a very small world. Well, my next question is: Know your career. You were a clear candidate to lead this roster alongside Itopata. And with that, here comes my other question: What's it like to work alongside Itopata?
It's been amazing. Like I said, we had a little bit of history before, but he was the assistant coach and I was the head coach. So it's and when he was his coach, he was very quiet. So it's very nice to be able to have him have more of a voice, and he's more of a leader here. And then just seeing how he works, like I've definitely learned from him. He's more organized than I am as a person, and some of the spreadsheets and different things that he does, I feel like improved and learned just watching him do his job.
Interesting. Uh, I really see Itopata like being very calm and very a man from just few words. Like,
Yeah, that is him in general. I will say during the matches, he's definitely not calm. I'm like sitting there basically playing like therapist slash like just letting him vent. But I get to see a different side of him probably than anyone else gets to see for sure.
oh, wow. With the question of coming with this, I told you that one of the doubts your fans have is how do you approach tactical poses? Do you plan that for the coming rounds or just to calm the players down?
So normally we have a plan. So like me and Ido, like the entire game, we're just sitting there talking back and forth. I'm giving him my advice and my suggestions and what I think, and usually tell him like, hey, if someone calls a timeout, this is the adjustment you should make, and it's just advice. He'll end up making his own decision with whatever I tell him, and then make his own whatever he wants to do. But majority of the time when we call a timeout, it's not very really to calm us down. We're a pretty calm team overall. These guys have a lot of experience and they don't get overwhelmed too often. So a lot of times when we call timeout, it's because we want to make an adjustment. There's something that we see that we can do, and so he'll have a plan for the round, and then also just a general, hey, next round let's do this, but then after that, keep an eye on this, this, and this.
Oh, because well, I think fans have this question because many teams use tactical pulses more for controlling the emotional side of the team instead of trying to planning or something like. It's very cool knowing that the Leviathan team is like a very calm team. It's just few teams just are like this.
Yeah, for sure, and it definitely helps. Like I said, we have a very experienced team. Everyone on this team is insane, and this is probably talent-wise one of the most talented teams I've definitely ever coached by far.
And speaking of fans, what do you think of the Leviathan fan base, including
Oh,
the Latam, VR, and wow, many parts of the world have fans. What
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
like the most?
So for me, like like I said, I definitely love all the Leviathan fans. Like I love the passion. Like, yeah, when you lose, you get some bad parts, but when you win, bro, like they love you, right? Like they love the heck
Yeah,
out of you, and I love that kind of thing. Just even just like when we go to events or like at champs, like hearing people scream ass fast's name and being able to do signatures and stuff for fans, for me, like that's the coolest thing in the world. Like, back when I was a player, like esports was definitely not this big. So being a part of it now and being able to see how cool it is and how big of a global sport it's become is absolutely amazing to me.
well, yeah, the experience. Well, it's very different compared to few years ago. Leviathan is like a monster now on fans. Thank you for Asfas, Com, Latam being they are like the second biggest team in Latam.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
let's focus a little on your players. From your point of view, which of the guys do you think made the most progress in their game and why?
The most progress. Okay, so I mean, I think everyone's made a lot of progress. I mean, I only joined in split two, so I didn't really get to see how it was split one begin the season. But just from what I know, from what I watched, because I did watch a little bit of split one, like Tex starting out to Tex now, he's so much better as Sentinel. He understands it so much better. He's so much better at the role. He's so much more confident at the role. I think that's been a big improvement. Calm from split one to split two, his performance is obviously night and day. I think a lot of that is because Calm plays with confidence of his teammates. If he's confident in his teammates and he feels like his teammates are confident in him, he plays so much better. I think that's been a big change. Kingg, his IGLing has gotten so much better. Like that's I think one of the reasons why we've done so well in split two and in champs is that really everyone has improved. Like the running joke before I was on the team was it's ass pass and friends, right?
Yeah,
And I don't think you can really say that any longer. Like Mazzino is the MVP of the grand finals in NA. Like his game there was maybe one of the most complete games I've ever seen. Like he was godlike in that best of five against G2 in the finals. So I think everyone's had a huge improvement. Everyone's had their moment, and I think it's one of the reasons why we're here.
well, you told me. Well, I was going to ask, comparing your like X teams and comparing it to Leviathan. Do you see a very huge difference between tier two and tier one?
Yeah, for sure. Not, I mean, yes, there's definitely a difference between tier two and tier one, but I honestly think there's a difference between Leviathan and other tier one teams. Like, I think pure aim wise, like this team is insane. Like the quote unquote least aimer on the team is maybe Calm, and his aim is still insane. Like
Yeah,
he's been frying this champs. He's hitting headshots left and right. Like I don't think we have a bad aimer on this team, and I think that's one of the things that makes us so strong is that we have five players genuinely who can pop off every single map. And I don't think there's another team in the world who can genuinely say all five players can drop a 30 bomb randomly.
yeah. It's like if Aspas is a little bit off, Masino can appear, King can appear, Tex, that is why the joke Aspas and friends doesn't work now. The
Yeah,
five
that
are
joke definitely doesn't
monsters
work.
of aim, and they are monsters on the rolls, and they are
Yeah, they're
fucking
all.
crazy. To close now the interview, what are your thoughts on the match against Team Heretics? Do you wanted this result? Well, not like wanted, but you thought it's going to end like this 2-0, a complete, a bit difficult icebox, but you were a monster on the next map. And
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on Edward Gaming?
yeah. So I mean, just in general, not even just this most heretic match, but since the beginning of this split, I told Idapata like after week one, I was like, we're about to win NA undefeated. I told him literally week two that we were going to run the table, win everything in NA. And I think going into champs, I was still confident, maybe not as confident as winning NA, but I was still pretty confident we were going to do well. And pretty much every match since the Trace match, we've gone into it feeling confident that we were going to 2-0. Like I said, I think we're genuinely, when we're playing at our peak, I don't think any team is even close to us, honestly. Um, and that's really the important part is that we're playing our best. And if we're playing our best, I think we're going to 2-0 the rest of the event, honestly. I think Edward Gaming is very good, very random. It's a play style that we haven't played against too much. And obviously we struggled against Trace, but their play styles are completely different, even though they're both Chinese region teams. But EDG should be a really good match. I still expect a 2-0 just because I feel like our map pool is so strong, and that's one of the things I think teams are struggling with is we don't have a bad map. I mean, the only one that you'd say is maybe Bind, and even Bind I don't think is bad. We just struggle with certain aspects of that map.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much, Juvi, for being here. Thank you for your time. See you on 23rd against Edward Gaming.
Thank you so much, Andy, and thank you so much, friends. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I've loved every second of this opportunity.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.